Everybody, we are so glad you all are here. I am Nancy Battles. I'm the Director of Admission, Assistant Director of Admission Operations. And I wanted to let you know who else was on the call with us. We have Whitney Dashlet, who is our Assistant Dean for Admission and Enrollment. And then we have Laura Patterson from our office as well. She runs our office and keeps it running smoothly, and also will set up your visits for you and things like that. We have 4 students who are going to share their experience today, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves in just a minute. But first of all, a couple of housekeeping things. Please keep your microphone on mute unless you want to ask a question, and then you can take it off mute and let us know that you want to ask a question. Also, you can ask your question in the chat function, and Whitney, our Assistant Dean, is going to be monitoring that chat and will pose those questions to us so we can get those answered as well. So, and we will be, this is going to be very informal. We want you to be able to stop throughout the presentation and ask your questions as they arise. So please feel free to let us know if you do have questions. We'll stop periodically and ask for those questions as well, and then we'll have some time at the end to ask those questions. We felt like a lot of you have had a lot of experience talking to admission reps, but we wanted you to have an opportunity to talk with our favorite part of the school, which are our students. They can really tell you what their experiences have been and what it's like to be a law student. So we felt that might be a refreshing change a little bit to hear some of the things that they're going to do. After they introduce themselves, I'll start us off with some questions, but you all, as I say, may have some other more specific questions as well. But I'm going to let them go ahead and introduce themselves, and I've asked them to tell you a little bit about themselves so you'll have a feel of kind of a little bit about their background. So if you all want to go ahead and start. I think Jonathan was first up.
Hey everybody, my name's Jonathan Jenkins. I'm a second-year law student here at Cumberland. I'm originally from a small town in West Alabama, Butler, Alabama, and I went to Troy University undergrad, and I was a political science major in my undergrad. Did I get everything, Miss Nancy? Everything I was supposed to cover?
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, wait, tell them about your football and other exploits as your side career.
So everybody always wants to hear about football and basketball. So in addition to be a law student, I also on the weekends referee college football and college basketball, and high school football and basketball as well. So I'm actually got a game tonight, about to load up here in just a minute after we get off the call. So that's my little side career.
He's got some good action shots that I think we need to display sometimes.
We can hide those.
Only with your permission.
That's great. Kiana, do you want to let us know a little bit about you?
Yeah, I'll go next. So my name is Kiana Kittamore. I am from Florence, Alabama. I'm currently a 2L. And some things that I went to the University of Alabama for undergrad. And some of my activities now in law school is I'm a part of the National Negotiations Team. I'm a part of like Christian Legal Society and Black Legal Society Association. And I'm currently working as an intern with this company out of Dallas, Texas, working with drone law and artificial intelligence. And so that's something cool that I'm working on right now through school.
Perfect. Caitlin, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, hi, I'm Caitlin Love. I'm from Oneonta, Alabama. I went to the University of Alabama for undergrad. I'm a 2L, and I'm an honor court justice. I'm involved in women in law, and I am a law school ambassador.
All of y'all are very busy. And TJ, last but not least.
Good day, everybody. My name is TJ Pittman. I am a 3L law student here at Cumberland. So I am 1 foot in the door, 1 foot out of the door, ready to graduate in the spring. My dad was in the Army, so I was originally born in Baumholder, Germany. But kind of like I was telling some people earlier, I did undergraduate years at Louisiana Tech. So I've lived in Louisiana the longest, and that's kind of my home for me. While at Samford, my first year, I was involved with SBA. My second year, I was heavily involved as a president of the Black Law Student Association, and now I serve as the student liaison for diversity and inclusion for the admissions office. So busy, 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 but Samford's a fun place to do it at.
Our students do stay very busy, so we're looking forward to hearing a little bit more in detail about what all they're up to. The first question I'm going to pose to them is, what do you like most about being a student at Cumberland? And maybe even all four of you. I know we won't answer each question with all four of you, but maybe all four of you start out and answer a little bit about that. What is your favorite thing about being a student at Cumberland?
I want to go first because I know the answer is going to get taken. But my favorite thing is the community at Cumberland, because it's so enjoyable to go to a law school where you have friends and you have people that are rooting for you, and it's not just the students, it's also the faculty. Everybody at Cumberland wants you to succeed, and that is by far my favorite part. Sorry, everybody else.
Literally was gonna say exactly what Caitlin just said, because that is my favorite part. And it's not like we're just saying it because it sounds good. Like I don't know, like me and Jonathan, we did the 1L like summer course before you start law school together. And so I knew him before we started law school. Me and TJ, we were in Boston together. And me and Caitlin, we weren't even in the same section, but we still became really close friends. Like, I'm going to her wedding next year, you know? And so like you really do get close with people, even if they're not in your section. Everyone's just so nice and just for you. Obviously like law school is competitive, and so like yeah, that's a factor, but like it's good competition here. It's not like under slicing or undercutting anyone, throwing anybody under the bus. It's a really good community. And also what Caitlin said about our professors, they're so willing to help and they're so brilliant. Like I could throw out some names but y'all wouldn't know, but a lot of our professors, they like write the textbooks that we're studying. They're just geniuses. And so to be able to, I guess, be taught by just great faculty is really amazing, and they're rooting for us as well.
The law school is definitely great, but you'll learn very quickly your first year that you need to take time to kind of disconnect a little bit and relax and remember that you're a human being and a person and also a law student. So I definitely love the fact that Cumberland is situated in Birmingham, Alabama. Birmingham doesn't seem like kind of a major or huge city, but we really have almost everything that you could think of, from outdoor activities to great green spaces for you to go running. There's dog parks everywhere. There's cool coffee shops. So if you're ever looking to get off campus or to get involved in other things like kickball sports or softballs or running clubs, I know I'm listing a lot of physical things, but you know, if you have any type of hobby, there's probably a place here at Birmingham. For my fellows or ladies who golf, we have a Top Golf, and we have some of the most beautiful golf courses, you know, that the state has to offer. So there's a little bit of something for everybody, and that makes it easy for you to kind of convince people to come visit you so you can get a little bit more of a break and see your friends.
They took all of my answers that I normally give to this question. So the only thing that I guess Miss Nancy knows where I'm going with this, because every time there's students in the office, I always have to give them a good restaurant recommendation. So in addition to all the things that everybody said, Birmingham has some of the best food anywhere. It's like a hidden jewel. There's great restaurants, and it like ditto to everything everybody else has already said. Cumberland's great. If I had to, I tell people all the time, you know, I had a lot of choices for law school, and if I had to do it all over again, I would do it the exact same. I would choose Cumberland every time because I love it.
And speaking of food, a few years ago, Zagat actually ranked us as the top hot food city in the United States. So it is a big foodie city, a lot of music, a lot of outdoor, a lot to do here. And without the big headaches of a big city, we have rush hour traffic, but we really don't have a lot of other traffic, which is really nice to say.
Yeah, we've got a list of restaurants that we give out upon visits, and actually have it posted on the website. But then I joke that if you come to Cumberland, I've got an even longer list that you can tour around the city, and we'll give you good recommendations there. You'll always stay full.
Exactly right. It's a great city to live in. I also wanted you all, each the students, to go back through and highlight some of the activities that you've most enjoyed or most been involved in. And I know Kiana mentioned the summer program, and I highly recommend that. And Kiana, if you could tell us a little bit more when it gets to you about that particular program, that would be great. And I know, Jonathan, I believe you're involved in the joint degree program, and maybe you could highlight some of that as well. But y'all would just kind of share some of the things that you've been involved in and how much you've enjoyed those.
Well, I'm going first this time since y'all stole all my stuff last time. I also was a part of the summer program. I'll let Kiana talk about it, but the only thing I'll say is it's probably one of the best decisions I've made so far. Great decision. I'm also a joint degree student, so I'm at the law school, and I'm also getting my MBA across the street at the business school. It's very demanding on your time, but I think it's well worth it. The cost is, much less than paying for both degrees separately. And it's doable. I mean, it's 18 hours a semester basically, which is only one more class than a normal course load. But I'm part of that. I'm a member of our law review, which is also very time consuming. I really need to find some activities that take less time, but so far I haven't been successful in that.
Sorry, can you explain what law review is? Because not everyone may know what that is.
Sure. So we have two publications at the law school, the American Journal of Trial Advocacy and the Cumberland Law Review. They are academic peer-reviewed journals. They're student-led, student-edited, and they publish a lot of student work. So it's a good way as a law student, to get published, which is very prestigious and looks great for a law firm to get published. So it's a great opportunity to do that. And if you're interested in doing clerkships or anything like that with a judge after law school, that's something they're really going to look for is writing experience. And I think the Journal of Trial Advocacy is the top third of the class, and the law review is the top 15% of the class. And so that's some of the eligibility criteria to write on to either one of those. So those are some of the main things that I'm involved with on campus.
Kiana, you want to hop in next?
Yeah. So I'll go with the summer program. So for me, personally, it was really what Jonathan said, like a really great experience. I would highly recommend to anyone who is coming in to Cumberland, just because you take 2 courses and you have 5 credits in all, and they go there as electives, but they kind of just get your feet wet before you dive into a full load in the fall. And so it gives you a first, obviously, because it's a class and you taking the exam, it helps with your GPA because you already have 2 classes under your belt. And then you also kind of get more experience with how to take law school exams, because I don't know if y'all know, but a lot of times you only get 1 exam at the end of the year. Sometimes professors do midterms, just depending on your professor, but this just allows you to get more experience with law exams. But then also I would like to highlight just the endless possibilities with externships as well. So that's obviously an externship is where you work somewhere and you get the school credit, but being in Birmingham and just being around a lot of the big firms, and just because Birmingham is like the legal hub of Alabama first and foremost. And so like just being able to not only work with big law firms, but working with a lot of in-house counsel places as well. Like I have a friend who's working for Regions because their corporation, like their headquarters is in Birmingham. And so it's a lot of great opportunities where you can work and get that experience. And then that also goes to your school credit. And then you also can get paid. And so that's more of like second year thing, but being in Birmingham is just great because you can work your way up to that.
I would definitely add to that. Birmingham is the legal hub of Alabama and one of the legal hubs of the South. And with that, we have over 5,000 practicing attorneys here. So it really does translate to a lot of internships and part-time work in the second and third year for our law students. And So our law students really, I feel like, hit the ground running. They're well prepared, not only from their book learning, but also from their hands-on experience. Alabama too allows the third-year practice card. So if you take certain courses and get certified and you're under supervised under an attorney, you can actually help represent clients. So our students really do get a lot of experience that way as well. And our summer program, I've met lots of people that have taken the summer program. There's probably somebody out there, but I've never met anybody who didn't tell me it was one of the best decisions they ever made. So I would really encourage that as well. But TJ or Caitlin, do y'all have anything to add to as far as your activities and things?
Activity wise, I definitely like that Cumberland has a capacity for you to start brand new things and brand new positions. I've been involved in a lot of like already established student organizations, but it seems like every semester somebody's starting a new student bar association for maybe Georgia or Tennessee, because we have a growing interest of people who want to practice in Alabama and maybe go and work on those states. And then me, for myself, being the student liaison for diversity and inclusion, that was the very first time. I'm the very first student liaison for that. So Cumberland is definitely a place that is growing, that is listening, and that if you want to start a club, whether it is computer science law or maybe child law, if you want to specialize or do anything like that, all you really have to do is reach out to a faculty member and try to establish that, and then just gather around other students. So everyone's really, really collaborative, and everyone wants to come together to help the next person win as well.
Caitlin, anything that you have to add?
I think they covered everything, but there are endless opportunities for organizations and ways to get involved. And one really good thing that I really personally benefited from, and now I'm trying to help the 1Ls now, is we have lots of mentorship programs within our student organizations. So like Women in Law, I have a mentee, Alabama State Bar, I have a mentee, and then through Women in Law, I also have like a local Birmingham attorney who is a mentor for me. So it's like a constant cycle of like who can help you and then who can you help. So there's lots of opportunities for lots of like good networking there, but also people who want to help you in all aspects of everything.
Caitlin, sorry to chime in, but talking about networking, can you tell a little bit about your story of meeting one of the attorneys, follow-ups, and what that can mean?
Yes. So I actually went to like a lunch and learn that we had about one of the joint degree programs. And one of the attorneys there, I don't really know what I want to do legal wise yet exactly. So I'm kind of just open to everything. So she was an attorney for Blue Cross Blue Shield. And I was like, that's super cool. I like the idea of health law. And so after the meeting, I was like, hey, I'd love to like talk with you more about this. And she gave me her card and she said, email me if you want to come and I will walk you around and I will show you everything and I will introduce you to everybody. And there were several students there with me that day that also got her card. And so I emailed and we set up a day, and I got there and I had kind of assumed that it would be like myself and all the other students, and it was just me. And she was like, you're the only one who reached out, so we're going to give you like the grand tour. So I got to eat lunch with like 5 Blue Cross Blue Shield attorneys. I got to meet like the VP of the Birmingham location. Like it was a really cool experience. And it was, I mean, she was willing to help me, but I also had to be willing to put the effort in to reach out and do some of the work too. So if you put effort in, people will help you. It's a give and take game.
That's a great story. I want to throw out one more question, and then we might pause a little bit and see if there are any questions that you all have as prospective students. But the next question, I was just going to ask the students to talk, if anything, about their experience with internships, externships, jobs that they've had during law school. We strongly encourage, as does the ABA, the American Bar Association, that students not work their first year. It's such an intense year. But the second and third year, the schedule is more flexible. People have their feet on the ground a little bit more. And a number of our students will work part-time for law firms and do internships or externships for class credit. And they get a lot of good opportunity at that point in the second and third year because they're able to work that in with their schedule. So if y'all could just address any opportunities that you've taken advantage of and enjoyed.
I can go first. Last year, I had the opportunity to clerk with two large firms here in Birmingham, and it was great. Got my internships through the Career Development Office on campus, through the OCI process, which is on-campus interviews. They bring employers onto campus and let you interview with them. I got both of my jobs through them. I'm working on campus this semester, and I hope next semester through the general counsel's office on campus. So I'm doing some working part-time there, and then next semester going back to being in Birmingham. This is the seat for the kind of the headquarters for the Federal Northern District of Alabama, which is the main federal court system in the northern part of the state, and their main courthouse is here. And so I'll be externing with a federal judge next semester. And an externship, it's 120 hours per semester. So that comes out to about 8 hours a week. So I'll be working with a judge here next semester. I had great experiences with clerkships. I'm going back to both of those firms this coming summer. And hopefully the way that normally works is you get asked your first summer, they ask you back your second summer, and then normally, if they like you and you perform well, you get a job offer. So fingers crossed on that. So, but yeah, there's so many opportunities. I have lots of stories like Caitlin. Just my biggest piece of advice: network as much as you can. I was at a meeting a couple of weeks ago and found out one of the federal judges from here was there, and I nestled myself right beside her and sat beside her at lunch and made sure I made that connection. And there's lawyers at my church that have, so there's been some job opportunities there. So there's just constantly, even now before law school, be looking for those connections as early as possible, because just cast out as many lines as you can, because they don't all bite. So
I agree with casting out as many nets as you can, just to see what fits. And especially coming into law school, I feel like I thought that I wanted to do one thing. I was really sold on crim law and possibly family, so domestic relations. And after I took crim, like, I like it, but I don't love it. And so I knew that was not for me. And so during the summer, I was kind of just like, okay, well, what am I interested in? And it was really more leaning towards transactional law. And so through the OCI process, I got an internship with this general counsel out in Orlando. And so I worked with their contracts team, with their intellectual property team, with their corporate team. And it's literally just a huge organization. And so I was able to connect with a lot of different, not just their obviously in-house counsel, but I was able to connect with their directors and with some of their attorneys that are across seas as well. And I'm currently still connected to one of the departments that I was working with, and we actually meet every Friday to like go through this paperwork to basically create this curriculum for students all over the world. And so it's really, really cool, just the opportunities that you get when you just apply and you're just like, okay, cool. And if you apply and you don't like it, then like, that's still great, because now like, I do not like that. I do not want to do that. So don't dismiss, like, don't, get upset with any opportunity. All opportunity is good opportunity. Obviously, if you have multiple choices, then choose the one that you want the best. But I had to learn, like, just go for it, even if I don't think that I'm going to like it, because I thought that I would hate intellectual property. And I left like, I love intellectual property. And that kind of led to me wanting to apply for the externship with the drone law and artificial intelligence. And so just don't count yourself a loss before you actually try it, because you just never know what other doors may open up and what other opportunities will come from that experience.
I 100% agree with that. Like I said, I don't really know exactly what I want to do. And so I just applied for everything. Any job for this past summer, I was like, I don't care. I'll just try whatever. and I clerked at the Tuscaloosa DA's office, which was very out of my comfort zone. I did not think I wanted to be in a courtroom, and I loved it. I'm taking basic skills in the spring so that I can get my 3L practice card, so that when they invited me back, they told me, please get your card so you can try stuff. So I was like, okay, we'll get some real world experience here and see what happens. So yeah, don't say, oh, I don't think I'd be good at that, because you have no idea what you will like once you get into it and you learn it. There are some things that I was like, oh, I know I like that, and I hated it. So just try to be open to everything until you've at least tried it once.
Okay. Well, did you have something? Go ahead, TJ.
Yeah, TJ, because
I think,
you've been had some different experiences with
yeah,
different
I
areas of
think
law, right?
I think I'm the only person who's went out of state to clerk and stuff for over the summer. So my first summer, I clerked in Tyler, Texas for 12 weeks with a personal injury attorney there. And it was a really small firm, only 2 attorneys, but I got to get a lot of hands-on experience. He actually sent me to physical vehicle inspections. He had me writing petitions, complaints very, very early on, sitting in on client interviews, taking a seat in depositions and whatnot. So that was a really great experience that kind of came out of nowhere, and using my connections through my undergrad and just kind of emailing people and saying that if anyone needs help, what might happen. And I was there for 12 weeks. He invited me back for this previous summer, so I spent a little bit of time with him. But then I also spent time in Ruston, Louisiana. That's the city where Louisiana Tech is, working for that district attorney. And that was cool because I interned for him while an undergrad as just kind of like a legal intern. And now that I had spent 2 years in law school and was back as a law clerk, they were asking me to do a whole new set of responsibilities and duties. I wasn't just kind of like filing things and getting them in order. They were having me brief appellate briefs and go sit in on juvenile court and talk to people and whatnot. So that was really, really cool. And just continue throughout every year and know that even when you're in class, like that's part of networking. A lot of to tie a lot of what people have been saying, a lot of our professors work in Birmingham or work out in the community. So they're teaching us in a very practical way. And then that's also a form of networking. So you never know when a professor is going to hear about a job opening and then recommend it to you, or be a strong reference, or give you a letter of recommendation. So always just kind of be carrying yourself, start thinking about carrying yourself like a lawyer, because that's just going to make you more confident. And if you start doing interviews for law schools, interviews for jobs, you just need that confidence in you.
One thing I was going to mention too about our alumni network, we are a close group. It's a close-knit group, but we have alumni in all 50 states and around the world. And they are a tremendous networking group to help you. They love to help Cumberland students. It can translate sometimes into internships. We have a lot of alumni that will come back and actually do interviews for firms on campus with the on-campus interviews. I also want to mention related to activities, and a lot of you may know this, but Cumberland is actually ranked 7th in the nation in trial advocacy, and our trial teams are ranked 3rd in the nation. So that is a tremendous flagship here, although we prepare students for all types of law. So whatever you want to go into, we'll give you a strong base for that as well, but just wanted to mention the trial advocacy. I wanted to pause here just a minute and see if any of the prospective students online had a question. You can address it specifically to one of the students, or you can address it to the group, however you want to do it, and just see if anybody does have some questions at this point. Any chat questions, Whitney? I don't know if anybody's.
There are no chat questions, but I do want to see, can I get people to raise their hands if you're a freshman? How about sophomore? Junior? Okay, there's sophomore. Juniors? Seniors? Okay, great. So we got more people that are seniors, and then anyone who has graduated already. Okay, great. So we got a whole mix. Good. So I know, just know this is a safe space, that there are always a few fears or fears of the unknown when going to law school. So even if you may not have, questions that you can think of exactly for the students, is there anything that you're, scared or nervous about? Because remember, our current students just got done experiencing the fear and anxiety that you may be experiencing now. So let us know that there's nothing to be scared of, and likely if you're feeling it, then basically everybody else that's in your shoes, they're feeling it too.
May I ask?
Sure, go ahead, Morgan.
My name is Morgan Phillips. I go to the University of Mobile. It's in Alabama. Hi. Actually, to whomever would like to answer. You've talked a lot about clerkships and like networking. Would a clerkship kind of be like one of the more efficient ways to network, especially with active professionals?
I think normally networking leads to clerkships, and then it's kind of like a funnel where it's kind of like a reverse funnel where if you can get into the clerkship, then it opens it up so much more because you're going to be working with a lot of attorneys. I mean, this summer I worked at, like I said, I worked at a large firm. I probably worked with 30 attorneys over the course of the summer, over 12 weeks. And those are 30 different contacts that I have now. So I think it's both. You sometimes networking leads to clerkships, and clerkships are always going to lead to more networking opportunities because you're going to be working with not only attorneys at your firm, but you're going to be working with attorneys at other firms on cases that you're working with. And it's not always cutthroat and adversarial. I mean, most of the time, especially with transactional stuff, everybody wants the best for their clients, and so you're constantly interacting with other attorneys. So I think it's both. Networking is important on the front end to find the clerkship, and then it's really important during your clerkship to continue making connections because you never know what may happen or what may pan out. And sometimes it may be nothing other than hey, that person's a good contact for me to have to bounce ideas off of, or have a drink with, or whatever. I mean, it's sometimes it doesn't turn into anything. They're just a good contact to have in your back pocket.
And truly and honestly, there's no inefficient way of networking. Every single opportunity once you enter law school is going to be a way to network. You'll meet connections at your gym, at your church, at different restaurants. You never know when you'll just run into somebody wearing a Cumberland School of Law shirt. And then also, depending on the type of law that you want to do, you may, like Jonathan, need a big network of attorneys, or you may need a bigger network of just blue collar people. So if you are a criminal defense attorney, you're probably going to need to know a bail bondsman. If you're a family lawyer, you may need to know a tax attorney or maybe even a private investigator. So you never know how everything's going to come together and just kind of mesh. So just always be polite, be kind, and just you want people to think of you as reliable and a hard worker. And as long as you do those things and carry yourself morally right, you'll be fine.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
And I
can I ask
probably
one more?
keep, oh, sure. I was just going to say one other thing, and then we've got a chat question too. I would always probably keep a blazer or something in your locker on campus that you could change into, because inevitably there are different panels and different, the organizations are putting on different events where we bring in attorneys. So sometimes you may forget that that's happening, but you don't want to show up looking like a bum in your sweatpants. So just know that there are always networking opportunities that come up, and just be somewhat prepared to be able to jump in on it if you want to. And then, yeah, go ahead with your question. Then we've got one in the chat.
It's more of a clarification, actually. Mrs. Battles, you mentioned your trial team. Now you are referencing mock trials, correct?
We have a mock trial team, we have a moot court, and then we also have an arbitration, mediation, and negotiation teams.
Gotcha. I'm on the mock trials team at school, so
Okay,
that's always
good.
a bonus for me.
Yes, so in undergrad, they tend to call it mock trial, but in law school, it's referred to as trial team. So that's the trial level of the court system. And then moot court is the appellate level of the court system. So there are 3 levels. So trial level, appellate level, and then Supreme Court. So when we say trial team and moot court, then those are just those 2 different levels of the court system. And so that trial advocacy, when we say, we have that ranking, it's really an umbrella program for all 5 of those areas, which is trial, moot, then mediation, negotiation, arbitration.
And those
So-
teams do very well, and they travel nationally and represent us. You actually try out the 2nd and 3rd year for the teams. But in the 1st year, we actually have a number of intramural competitions, which is kind of unusual. Not all law schools have that, and we teach evidence in the 1st year. So you can actually participate the 1st year in those type of programs.
And so they're the teams, but then you also have the classes in each of those areas. So where you can learn and hone those skills. And then if you choose to join a team, then there's that to where you can compete. And, it takes that practice even further. So there are multiple elements to the advocacy program.
Right.
So the question that we have, and this is, we got some good questions here. Do you have any regrets about your 1L year of law school? And do you have any tips for us about how to avoid those same regrets?
Don't beat yourself up. You're not stupid, and you got into law school for a reason, and you can do it, because I feel like you get in and then immediately, even with the community feel, it's still, well, they made better on this. They did better on this paper. What if I could do this? Well, I should study for 15 hours a day. Like, you have to find what works for you, and you have to do it, and you can't compare it to anybody else, because some people can sit in the library for 48 hours and they're done for the year, and they're great. They're woohoo. Some of us have to sit there 8 hours a day at school, and we go to class and we study and we read, and then we go home and we do it again the next day, and that's just our method. Don't look at anybody else and be like, oh, well, they sit in the library the entire week and they're really smart. Like, no, they've got a process and you've got a process. And it was very frustrating to me my 1st year, because everybody's like, you got to find what works for you. And I was like, tell me what works for me. But really, you have to figure it out. And if you just go into it with I'm going to find what works for me, and I'm not going to compare myself to anybody else in this class. My big thing is I compete against myself. Like, if I can do better, then I'm going to do better, but I'm not going to beat myself up, because I'm not anybody else. I can only compete against myself and do the best that I can do. So I would not beat yourself up because you're not doing things the way somebody else is, or you're not, you don't do anything outside of law school. Some people don't do anything outside of law school and it works for them. And then, like TJ was saying, some of us need a break. We got to find something to take your mind off, whether it's working out or reading, or I play my Nintendo Switch for an hour. Like, that's my relief. So, you just have to find whatever method is going to work for you and not feel bad about it, because you got there for a reason and you're going to do great.
Anybody else from the students?
Yeah, I would definitely say stick to your guns. How you study for the LSAT and kind of how you got to law school, probably the same study method that you might need to keep and carry into law school. It is okay to try new things, but if you've never done flashcards, if you've never made flashcards, maybe don't spend, 3 weekends or 3 weeks making 300 flashcards if they're not going to, help you in that type of way. So just stick to your guns, stick to your methods, have a good balance between social life and home life. Because, yeah, you're busy and you got to study for that final, but if you talk to your mom for 3 minutes, you're probably going to feel better. Show yourself a little bit of grace, because you're embarking on a journey that not a lot of people do. Becoming a lawyer is hard, and that's why it's well respected in the community. So just prepare for that journey. Show yourself a little bit of grace, and know that somebody dumber than you is already a lawyer. So now all you have to do is finish it and get to that finish line.
Yeah, what I say a lot is a lot of people have done this before me and a lot of people will do this after me. So I can do it too. I just need to sit my butt down and do the work because there's no getting around that part.
Definitely
So
not.
yeah, you can do it if you're willing to put in the work.
I agree. I think for me, one thing that I regret is waiting too long to like go talk to my professors, because they're so willing to help. The thing is, they're so smart and so intimidating sometimes, and so it's just like I don't even know how to formulate a question. Like I don't know, but literally once you get over that fear of maybe not being as intelligent as your I mean, obviously we're not as intelligent, but like just over the fear of just interacting with them and going to their office. It just helps you a lot. It just helps you so much. Like you can ask them like, well, how should I prepare for your exam? Instead of us trying to figure it out on our own and trying to figure out like, well, what do I need to be studying for? Like they're there to help us and they're willing to help us, and they'll say like, well, this is what you need to do. And even like if you want, what I will say is what has helped me is that once I got over the fear of going and talk to my professors, what I'll do now is send out an email and to see like when they're available to me, and then I'll already formulate some questions that I'll have, and I'll put those questions in the email as well so they can be prepared, so they know that like I'm coming in with a game plan. Like I'm not just trying to waste your time, professor. Like I know what I need to know, and then if they want to give me any extra details or little nuggets while I'm there, like that's great. But I think that just shows them that I am on top of it. I do take this very seriously, and that I do want to do well in their class. And they really appreciate that. They appreciate their time. And it just also shows professionalism, which is a big thing about being an attorney.
This
Yeah,
isn't really
Go
a
ahead.
personal regret, but it's a common like thread with other students. If you wait to 2 weeks before the exam to start studying, you're way too late. So the main thing that I would say that worked for me, but I saw a lot of my friends freak out, because they waited till 2 to 3 weeks before the exam to start studying, and it's just way too late. So develop a system when you get in, like what they were saying, and at the same time you're learning stuff ahead. This was way different than undergrad for me to learn. Like you're still learning the material, but you constantly need to be reviewing the stuff that you've already covered. Sometimes you might need to wait 3 weeks into school before you start doing that, to get some context about where the course is headed. But please do not wait to the end of the semester to start studying for finals, because law school finals are just so much different than undergrad. And if you wait too late, you're going to put yourself through a lot of unnecessary stress. And I will say, the people that do the best in law school, the people that are at the top of the class, they're not they're with few exceptions, they're not smarter than anybody else. They're not super intelligent or have a crazy high IQ or anything like that. They're just the ones that every single day they put the work in. And so that would be my advice for first year, is just do the work on the front end, because it's going to save you a lot of trouble on the back end when exams are closed.
So I think the big overarching theme there, just before we go to the next thing, is that fear makes us do or not do a lot of things, like procrastination or not going to talk to one of the faculty members, or thinking that we're not studying like somebody else, so we're not as good. So when it comes down to it, you just need to get out of your own way. All right. Recognize that that's your voice talking to yourself, not outside effects or outside influences. And you have to get out of your own head, shut that voice up, and just do what you need to do.
Whitney, are there any more chat questions before I open it up again? Okay. Any other questions that anybody else has right now?
If you don't mind, I'll ask a question.
Sure.
My name is Keelani and I'm in Michigan, so just a few miles away from you guys. Pouring rain all day, freezing cold. Welcome, Michigan.
Oh, probably too.
Yeah, so I got my vest on, it's winter life. But one of my questions for you guys, and I notice I'm not the only one either. So I actually graduated from college a few years ago. Few sounds better than several. And just kind of thinking like leaving the workforce, going back to school, and that whole mechanism. And so when you guys look back on your undergrad, or if you did take a year years off in between. What are some of those things that you think helped you when you then started your law school journey?
Yeah, so I'll dive into this one because I actually did take a year off. And so I worked full time at an organization here or a corporation here in Birmingham before I started law school. And I think that really what it taught me was just to have the mindset of like an 8 to 5 or however long I need to work. Just because with undergrad, like it seems like a lot when you're in it, but like we have so much leisure time like that we don't even understand that we have until after you're out of that season. You look back and you're just like, what was I doing with my time? But having like just that work experience and having to be at the office or having to like work for this set amount of hours, I think that it helped me be more just mature and to have that mindset of like, no, like this is business. And so it really helped me. I think that we actually have a lot of non-traditional students at our school. Some people are parents. Some people literally left like their 6-figure jobs to come to law school. Some people are like in their 40s and they're just like, no, like law is it. Like I'm gonna switch everything. And so regardless of like how long it took, or even if you're coming straight out, like I think that if we got in, we all can use the tools that have gotten us this far to push forward and to spearhead through everything that law school is.
Um,
Oh, go ahead,
somebody
TJ.
told me somebody told me really early on that like a firm can always hire another attorney or another lawyer. They can't hire another you. And your life experiences up until this point have made you who you are. And law school is going to turn you into a lawyer. So that way you can go out into the community and be relatable, be professional, and help people the way only you can. The way me and you think about the same situation are going to be two completely different perspectives. Neither one of them is wrong, but like that's what's going to make your way of lawyering your way, and that's what makes my way of lawyering my way. So don't be afraid of that. Dive straight into that because it's going to prepare you more than you even know.
Absolutely. I think that what TJ's saying is that we want there to be people that have different experiences. We don't want everyone to just come from undergrad. We want people who have had other experiences, whether it's career or life experiences before law school. So you should see that as a positive that you're able to bring that in. Now, to make the transition, I'm someone who worked for 2 years before going to law school. And for me, it was because I didn't realize that I wanted to go to law school until I started working. So it wasn't that I was just taking the time, in between. It's that's when I figured out that, okay, my plan is to pursue law school. And I think that when you go to law school after working or after deciding to go to law school, because you started working, then I think that you have a slightly different perspective when you approach your classes, because you're like, I made this active choice to change the trajectory I was on. And what I'm doing here in law school is getting me to the end goal of what I want to do. And so I'm not just going to school, continuing motions that I know. And I'm not saying that that's what happens from undergrad, but I think that you can maybe have that experience of, okay, I'm used to going to classes on Monday, Wednesday, and on Tuesday, Thursday. You can get in just that, used to that routine, but you're making the choice to change your routine from working. And I think it's powerful to know that I'm making this change. It was my choice to make it. And now I need to sit down and do this work, because your work is directly leading you to the job that you want afterwards. That's going to be your career for your life. So I think it can sometimes give you a different mindset and a powerful one at that.
And I will say too, one of the things I think I love most about Cumberland is the fact that we do have students right out of school. We have students that are 2, 3, 4, 5 years removed from undergrad. And then we also have a handful of older students that have come back for second careers. And the thing I love about that is they interact with each other so well. The younger students benefit from the older students and vice versa. And we actually, year before last, had a student who had 5 children, commuted actually about 30 minutes away, and won the top award in the class. And when she was like the Energizer Bunny, and when she won that award, the entire class, young, old, everybody just jumped up to their feet and gave a standing ovation. And I have loved, and a lot of times the ones that have been in, out of undergrad for several years, we'll see them in leadership positions here. So I do think it's a valuable contribution to have had some time. And it's also, if you've come straight from undergrad, as Whitney said, it's absolutely fine too. But if you've had some extra experience, it can only make your law school experience richer. So other questions? There may be some other people that haven't had a chance to raise their hand yet. Anybody else? Okay, well, the next thing I wanted to ask the students then is, can a couple of y'all tell us, what is a typical week like in law school for you? How are you juggling those activities, those classes, that work, free time? Are you the late night owl studier, or are you very disciplined during the day? Share a little bit about what your week looks like. See TJ with a big grin.
A typical week is insane. I mean, for me, because of the stuff that I do after hours with basketball and football, football eats up my weekends during the fall. Whatever college site I'm going to, thankfully I have a game here in town tonight on Friday night, so I'm not traveling, but I have to do those things during the week, or I'm not able to do those other things that are important to me on the weekends. And I have, a fiance. And so when I get done with school, I really want to, be able to give her the time that she deserves from me. So for me, I have to structure it, like an 8 to 5, like Kiana was saying, and I leave my books most of the time at the law school. I don't bring them home. That works for me. As exams get closer, you're going to have to study more. I mean, that's just a given fact. 8 to 5 is not going to cut it, probably the closer you get to exams. But for the most part during the semester, I try to get to the law school. I try to schedule a class at 9 to make me get to the law school, to go ahead and kickstart my day. And then in between classes, don't waste time. It's easy to get caught up and stopping and talking, and I love to do that. But it's really important to keep your head down and do your work. It's important for me. Some people, I'll let some of the other students, if they're night owls or whatever, and I am a night owl, but I prefer not to study at night. I'd rather, be doing other things with my time. So it's nice your second and third year, you don't have Friday classes. So I really use Friday as a catch-up day. I try to use Friday mornings as a catch-up day to try and to get caught up. So you don't have to have Friday classes. You can schedule yourself for some, but
I mean, you can schedule them, but this year with COVID, the schedule got changed. So we got
everything that I just said has an asterisk by it of a non-COVID year. So COVID is, I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, definitely. Pre-COVID, it was getting to school. So I commute 35 to 40 minutes a day with driving. And so I would get to school around 8. And actually I'll get to school at 7:30. And then sometimes I would read a Bible plan or something before I went in. Or sometimes I would go in early. I had class at 9. And so before class, I would go up to the mezzanine, which when y'all come here, y'all know the mezzanine well. It is a great place to study. And so as a 1L it is. And so I would go up to the mezzanine, read before class, and just review and things or whatever. And then after class, sometimes I would meet up with a classmate and we'll discuss just the different material and stuff like that, just because that's how I really grasp the material, when I hear it in class, but then also can talk about it in just a normal conversation. And so I would do that. And then basically throughout the day, you literally use all of the free time, like the little time that you have that you would usually just like get on your phone and be like on social media, you're just like, okay, well, how can I use this to be productive? And so on the commute, once I, because Barbary and Themis and other bar prep tools, they provide like videos and stuff. And so because I commuted a long way, I decided to use that time, like you literally utilize that time and like listen to the videos before. And so like you get real creative of how to study when, you know, and so basically that's what I did. I would take a break and I would do like small groups at the end of the day. I was in multiple small groups just because I needed it. Like I needed just a time of other believers where I could just be like, no law school, nothing. And then after that, if I felt like I was good for the day, I would just be like, okay, tomorrow I'm gonna hit the ground running. But if there's the things where I was just like, I don't really feel comfortable going to bed, like I could get called on tomorrow and I have not read this case. Let me just get it together and read this case. You know, I would do that. And so a lot of days kind of look different for me, but the routine was basically like the same. Like it was like I was at school at 7:30 and I did, you know, the normal things or whatever, but every day kind of still looked different, which worked for me though.
I want to chime in on one thing Kiana said, and I know TJ is like this too. Um, Whatever your week is, you know, find something that disconnects you from law school for a little while. I mean, for me, that's what football is, football and basketball. You know, for those 4 hours, I'm not focused on law school. I'm not thinking about anything related to it. You know, there's people screaming at me and I'm dealing with coaches and whatever, but that's relaxing for me. And it just disconnects because it will run your life to the extent that you let it. So you have to really take control of it and say, okay, well, I'm gonna disconnect for tonight. You know, these 4 or 5 hours, I'm not thinking about it anymore. So I would just highly encourage you, whether it's working out, finding a small group, you know, finding a good coffee shop that, you know, or something like that, journaling, if you like to draw or anything, just find something during your week to disconnect, because your brain needs that recharge.
Well, guys, we are close to wrapping up here. I'll probably ask one more quick question, and if you could briefly give answers, and then I'll wrap us up so everybody can get on to their activities. But what is one piece of advice you as current law students would give to incoming law students? What is the thing that would, if you wish you had known at the time you were entering law school, that might help them?
I want to go first. You are more than the number on your LSAT score, and you are more your GPA, your LSAT. It's an important number for this, but at the end of the day, it's a number, and you need to be happy with what you do and happy with your decision, and not let a number dictate your life, because you're going to keep getting numbers as you go through law school. You're going to get a class rank and you're going to get a GPA. And then you're going to keep getting these like rankings of like, oh, you did this good. Like, this is how well you performed. But you can't equate like your self-worth with that. And it is very easy to be like, well, I'm here and everyone else is here, so I'm not as good as, or I'm not doing as good. And you are, like I said earlier, you're all in law school. You're going to be great attorneys one day, and just don't let a number make you think you're less than what you are, because you're awesome and the number means nothing as soon as you graduate and pass the bar.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I'll say right now, like while you're in good spirits, I would probably think about and really think about why you want to go to law school. Like, don't allow this just to be a decision of just like, oh, well, like I have nothing else to do, because law school is really hard and it's really expensive, and it's a battle. Like, it's a mental and physical battle. Like, and physical because like sometimes you eat, sometimes you don't. You know, like it's real, if I can be honest. But like, you need to know your why, because on the days where you're just like, I cannot go, like if you know your why and you write it down on those days where you're just like, I can't do this anymore, you can go back to that and say, no, like I got this, I can do this. This is what I really, really wanted to do. And I'm not just doing it because it was something fun to do or it sounded good. So I would definitely say, like, write down your whys, know your why, because it is extremely hard. But the thing is, like Whitney said, and like TJ said, there's other people that have done it. There are other people that are going to do it behind us. And so why not us? Why not y'all? Like, y'all can do it. If this is something that you want to do, you can do it, and you will do it. And you're going to be great attorneys. I'm here rooting for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like to straight piggyback off of that, when you write your personal statement to apply to law school, make it your purpose statement. You should be able to look back on that statement every single day of law school when it's tough, when you're up studying, when it's like when you're really in the gutter. You should be able to look back on that statement and get so pumped. And your mindset changes from I have to study, I have to read, to I'm fortunate enough, I'm privileged enough, I'm granted enough, I get this opportunity. Because it's tough. It's tough. It is not just rainbows and sunshines. But if you have that purpose in you, if you have that drive in you, 3 years from now, you might be sitting right here over Zoom, talking to 1Ls, trying to tell them the same thing. And everything is gonna work out. Just find your purpose, and that'll carry you much farther than you think.
Great. Well, I want to thank all of our students for their time. They, as you can see, are busy people, but they love sharing with prospective students. So we appreciate your time and your insights. To all of you prospective students, we would love to talk with you further. If you have more questions or need more information about Cumberland or the law school process in general, we are happy to talk with you by phone, by video chat. And we also have, we are having on-campus visits. And currently you can come and you can sit down with an admission counselor. You can take a tour with one of our ambassadors and really talk to them about their experience here as a student. And you can also sit in on a virtual class. Normally in our visits, and we're hoping that's going to open up again before too long, you can actually go and visit a class. But with COVID and the spacing requirements, our classes are at a max capacity. But we still do have on-campus visits. But happy if you don't feel comfortable doing that to have a virtual visit with you as well. So please do not hesitate to call Whitney, myself, or Laura, and in our office. And if you want to talk further with one of these students, you can call our office and we can connect you with them. So we love to have questions from students. You are not bothering us, and please do call us and engage with us. And we hope to see you in our office or talk to you on the phone soon.
Thanks for coming, guys. Let's give our students a hand. They were awesome today. Thanks for coming.
Thank you, guys. And y'all have a great weekend.
Yes.
Thank you.
And join us for our next 2 Zoom series.
That's right. Bye.
Bye-bye.